Hello everyone, I'm Two-Faced Teller, but you can call me V, and welcome to Romancing Flesh. Mr. Charles Keating will finish his sentence at the Delsey Correction Facility at midnight tonight unless he confesses to his even greater crimes against nature. Romancing Flesh is a kinetic visual novel with the style of classic Universal monster films and the body horror schlock of direct-to-video scary movies. Through audio recordings, letters, photos, and film, discover what drove Charles Keating from being a normal college graduate to a mad scientist whose passions drove him to unethical experimentation, self-mutilation, and forbidden love. This game was made for Spooktober 2021 Visual Novel Jam. Tasty looking flower. The warden wants to see you. Follow me. Delisle Correctional Institution, 1946. He's all yours, sir. You're relieved, Jeremiah. Best get home to the missus. Thank you, sir. I've transformed Delisle Correctional Institute from a dingy county jail to one of the top facilities in the country. Did you know that? I didn't do that just by imprisoning small-time crooks, murderers, and thieves, no sir. Over the years, I've curated a very specific type of prisoner. Deviants. They're not like you or me. Sickos, perverts, communists, whatever you want to call them, they can't be rehabilitated because they're barely human to begin with. And the strangest part is, you think every part of their brain is broken, but they can still feel shame. A father of three will try to shoot you dead if you accuse him of putting on dresses and having sex with bellboys. A well-to-do woman would stick her head in the oven before she'd admit to a what is that word? Define deviance. Oh, it has two L's. Dalliance. A casual, romantic, or sexual relationship with a colored boy down the street. And hell, even my own mother with a goddamn suffragette. Oh, I didn't read that sentence correctly at all. And hell, even my own mother was a goddamn suffragette, but me or Dad would have beaten the snot out of her if we found that out before she croaked on us. You're an asshole. You belong here. It's a difficult thing to get confessions from these freaks. Now normally when a district attorney needs a bit more time to build a case against one of these deviants, they'll rush them through the courts on some trumped up charge, keep them in prison for a while, and hopefully buy enough time to build a case. But if they can't, Delisle Correctional Institute will get a confession from them. We've read the works Freud, Moreno, and Watson, reproduced the experiments of Pavlov and Skinner, and consulted with Wortham, Miller, and Jung. And we've distilled them all into an effective mythology that loosens the prisoner's tongue while leaving them free of the physical cuts and bruises that don't play well to judges and juries. Real humane-like. But listen to me ramble on. The reason I brought you in here is because your cellmate, Mr. Charles Keating, is one of these deviants. We've tried our best to build a psychological profile on him from a proper plan of attack, but Mr. Keating managed to run out the clock on us. Mr. Keating will have served his sentence as of midnight tonight, unless we get a confession in the next few hours. I want you to read these documents from the U.S. Attorney's Office. If you believe anything in these documents can be used to get a confession out of Mr. Keating, we need to know. In return, if you merely read these documents, even if you don't find anything, we'll consider your sentence served. I know it sounds too good to be true. Anything he can tell us might be the key to keeping this monster behind bars. He doesn't fit into the world. He belongs to to me.
Drag an object to move. Click it to view. There's this one. There's plants. More plant, like a cell. Kind of looks like a brain, but like it's really gross, and now I wish I didn't think about it. And here we have a van. It's a van. And we have a house. It has stairs. It kind of looks like one of those like olden day like public school church type deals. Like there's like this big old like area. Could also be a greenhouse. Might not. Looks like a shed. This is the main house. It's really high up. It's kind of weird. Why is it that high up? And we have... Oops, I didn't want that.
Recording dated February 12th, 1942. Hello. Dr. Petrov. I'm sorry for the call. The bus trip is taking a bit longer than I was expecting, but I should be there in just a couple more days. That's fine. I'm still setting up the lab, and most of my supply shipments will be arriving late as well. You should be in town just in time to help me get everything up and running. Phew, good. Is there anything I should brush up on before I get to the lab? I managed to grab a decent selection of medical journals while I was in Boston. Plant cellular structure. What? The nature of the work we'll be doing is a bit cross-disciplinary. I trust your medical knowledge is up to date, but I need to make sure you've brushed up on some of the basics of botany. I suppose I could visit a bookstore while we're at a stop. A newsstand should have some periodicals. No need for the latest journals, Mr. Keating. Oh, that's Mr. Keating? Who's this bald man? I thought this was Mr. Keating. You don't need to know the latest scientific learnings, but you should be able to write and illustrate a grade school textbook on basic plant biology with your eyes closed before you get here. I'll make sure to study hard on the trip over. Good lad. And, if you could bring a tin of real coffee, I'd appreciate it. We're down to the stuff cut with chicory down here. When I was looking to see how long this was, I looked at the tags, and I think I saw LGBT, and I'm just like, is there gonna be... Well, considering the time, and especially because the one dude mentioned colored boy by his words, I'm gonna assume that if these two have, like, a relationship, it would be a forbidden relationship. Plants. Just thinking about, like, the whole thing, just... Oh, you speak of flowers in such a way that it makes... I don't know how relationships go. It makes my heart flutter. So soothing, your knowledge. You speak to me in a way that tickles at my ear. Oh, Doctor. I know we shouldn't, but I cannot help these feelings. Please, with your big, bald, shining head, look at me. I'll try my best, sir. See you in a few days. Click. Oh, I forgot to ask if it's alright for me to record the call. Tape shut off. Dearest Mother. Dearest Mother, the bus trip is a bit longer and more uncomfortable than I was expecting, but I should be in Alabama within a few days. I've called Mr. Petrov's office and he assures me his facility is a few hours outside of Fayette, so I'm not as far from civilization as I feared. I may have to forego the nightly edition of the paper, but we all must make deep sacrifices in times of war. Oh, maybe I should do less, like, Britishy and more just a boy, a man. A twinky little man. Please remind Father that Dr. Petrov's work is being funded by the U.S. Army, and although I won't exactly be one of the tough SOBs marching into Hirohito's palace, I'll be an active contributor to the war effort. Besides, I hear if I were a service member, the letters I send you would look like Swiss cheese, and we don't want to make your lactose intolerance any worse. I hope this letter finds you in better spirits than when I left, and in worse spirits than when I'm there. Your loving son, Charles. What? finds you in better spirits than when I left, and in worse spirits than when I'm there. Confusion. Science is a poor pursuit for young men, too much infatuated with the new and novel, with no room to appreciate the refuge of tradition. Quite frankly, Mr. Keating should have seen what was coming next. Oh, didn't mean to do that. There we go. Drag or move it. A flower with... Oh, geez, that's not just a flower. Oh my god. That's a bunch of toes. And teeth and a tongue. That's disgusting. Okay. What is this? Cells? I guess. Is this just the cover? Dear Aunt Sonia, happy birthday. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person this year, but I hope my package arrived in time for the party. For the party. Work has been busier than expected. I'm sorry if my last few letters gave the impression that I can be frank about the work I'm doing, but now that the lab is fully operational and the experiments have started in earnest, I realize some self-censorship on my own part will be required. In the vaguest terms possible, my work involves supplementing the army's diet with quick and cheap meat, such as putting toes on a plant. But Dr. Petrov has some lofty goals for where the research could lead. I'm sorry to say your sister's son attended college to become a glorified sausage maker, but it's not the worst place work could have taken me. That being said, Dr. Petrov is very passionate about the work we're doing. Smile is different from the lab work at Tufts College. There's a half a dozen experiments in different stages of development, and every day I'm learning something new. It's frantic and fast-paced, but energizing. It'll be a while before we're manufacturing canned meats that I could probably trade you some jerky for your homemade fudge by next Christmas. Your loving nephew Charles. Poke it. Is that it? Oh. Recording date, March 3rd, 1942. There, we're recording now. I don't want to be recorded. Now what the hell did you get me involved with, Dr. Petrov? It's a flower, Charles. It has teeth. Yes, the teeth were unexpected, but look how evenly they grew in. The dentistry isn't the issue, Dr. Petrov. What you're doing is unethical. How exactly is it unethical? It's simply a flower with teeth. Have you not seen flowers with teeth before? Because I certainly have. It's right in front of me. You ripped apart a living, breathing thing to make... Dr. Keating, this isn't a butcher's shop. I'm not hacking and stitching animals together like cheap circus attractions. I grew this flower from a blastocyst. I fertilized the egg by needle injection in my lab. What do you mean, grew? Before it reaches the embryonic stage, you can count the number of cells inside a blastocyst by hand. If you have an expensive microscope, a small needle, and lots of time, you can even identify what each of those individual cells would grow and divide into. So I take those individual cells, and instead of letting it grow into a monkey, I manually remove what I don't want it to grow and rearrange what I do want it to grow. Such as I wanted this plant to grow teeth and toes. And look what I got. Teeth and toes. But why turn it into that? You read those botany books like I told you to, yes? Yeah. Very simple structures, aren't they? Most of the plant is made of the same type of cell. No complicated organ systems, no skeletal structure, no need for a centralized brain. If I took those pre-embryonic masses of cells and just rearranged them willy-nilly, I'd create thousands of malformed failures before I stumbled on a useful form. So instead I used plant structures as a basis to rearrange the cells, and the results have been astounding. Just a few rows of my pseudo-plant cell design, and it not only maintains the structure but continues growing it naturally like the animal cells can remember the plant roots. Pardon the pun, of course. But you're missing the point. You're not growing a new life. You're forcing something to suffer from its own birth. They don't suffer, Charles. They don't even have brains. I've been analyzing their brain patterns. Oops, they do have brains. They use so little energy to grow, their brains default to a dream state, a calm, peaceful sleep. And then we'll be killing them for their meat. Yes, like we do to cattle, Charles. Charles, do you understand how we make bacon? Ham? Do you not understand what a butcher shop is? This is like the same thing, except I grew it like it was a plant. And it doesn't feel like how cattle do. Honestly, what I'm doing is more ethical. Yes, but someday I'll design them to grow as large as trees, shedding meat like apples from the branches, living for hundreds of years. No, that just reminds me of that one game, and... I just hate it whenever it's meat. I hate when the world gets covered in meat. It's disgusting. A forest of these trees will negate the need to raise animals for slaughter, ending a 10,000-year genocide of innocent creatures. I already bought a plot of land a bit further north for when I'm ready to grow them. I thought it would take decades for me to make something like this, but then I found you. I've read your paper on atypical embryal development, and it felt like a practical extension of my own work on the teratology of plants and animals. That paper was on birth defects, Petrov. I can't do that to animals on purpose. What's evolution if not a series of beneficial birth defects? Yeah, but I feel like if you don't maintain, like, a genetic, like, you don't keep making sure that this thing can, like, breed or something, like, you have to make sure you take out the ability to breed so that these things don't, like, spawn seeds and stuff, and it spreads on the winds, and then the world becomes meat. Or, like, you want it to not be able to wake up. Like, why does it have a brain? It shouldn't have a brain. This thing will end up waking up and living a life of suffering and pain. Probably. What's evolution if not a series of beneficial birth defects? What would take 1,000 generations and dead ends to spontaneously develop, we could grow overnight. While other scientists are trying to fix the problems nature gave us, we'll design a sustainable future for the planet. Well, I mean, something like this is the reason why you need generations. So you understand what's happening, and you make sure that it's, like, bred out of what you're trying to do. And then also, you'll be able to see the effects of what's happening when people are eating your gross plant meat. Well, it should be a future without biting flowers at least. Why'd you give it teeth? Oh, right. I think you said it was unintentional. But maybe you could isolate the stomach and rearrange the structure like a Venus flytrap? A Venus flytrap? See, I'm glad I recorded that because I am out of pen ink. I already read this. Okay, next time I'll do things in order. Oh god, gross. Ew. Oh. Oh, ew. Is that a mouth? Now men like you or I, we would know better. When the witch in the woods welcomes you into her gingerbread house, you don't accept the invitation. You throw her in the fire. Okay, next time I will do this in order as it is stacked. Oh my god. Ew, what is this? Ew. Like, it looks very plantish, but very intestinal. Oh, this one's like growing fingers. Little messed up fingers. Very fleshy still, very nasty. August 24th, 1942. Okay, it's on. Say that again, Charles. Chimera? Ah, ha, ha, yes! For the whole thing, you drunk. The entire thing you said. The whole thing again. Okay. The plant animals we've been growing tend to be fairly small for a lot of reasons. We've only grown them from single rearranged blastocysts, question mark. We've only allowed them a few weeks to reach maturity. The plants can't grow faster than the animal's parts it came from would. Yes, but get to the important part. Okay, so our experiments with grafting have been failures. But instead of trying to graft during adulthood, we can simply make our pre-embryonic blueprints bigger by using more blastocysts. I'm gonna have to say this word multiple times. I might as well go figure it out how to say it.
Blastocyst.
Oh, I'm saying it right. Blastocyst. And this wouldn't result in rejection because we have well-documented cases of siblings ingesting other smaller embryos in the womb, resulting in the embryo containing cells from both siblings, chimeras. We will merely start the stage in the process even earlier and assemble larger plants. Now that implies we can only use genetic siblings to build these plants. I assume we can't use other animals or genetically unsimilar? We could certainly experiment and find out. I'd certainly like to see a rabbit pigeon dandelion or something. You blow on it and a bunch of seeds will fly out on rabbit earwings. You see, inspiration can strike at any time, Charles. We could have forgotten all about this in the morning. Yes, fine. I can see the merits of your little recording device there. Oh, another idea. What if you made plant animals that interconnect with each other like pieces of a puzzle piece? You can have one plant specifically designed to collect and refine nutrients which can feed a second plant that can just focus on growing bigger. That's a strange place to need a mouth, Charles. Wherever you'd like to put your mouth is fine to me, Dr. Petrov. What was that? Oh, it was a little joke. Oh, man, this whiskey's getting to me. I'm gonna go bad. You aren't recording this by any chance, are you? You can put your mouth wherever, Dr. Petrov. I don't mind. Dear cousin Delilah, I accidentally said something a little too horny to Dr. Petrov. I've been paying extra to get the hometown paper shipped down here in Alabama, and I read that you won a blue ribbon for your peanut butter fudge at the county fair last month. You must be absolutely over the moon. I can relate to a lesser extent, as I've told you in my last correspondence. I'm finally getting the hang of the work, which must be secret, and I've managed to make a breakthrough of my own. Essentially, for the past year, I've been trying to perfect Dr. Petrov's recipes. He'll make some new sort of confectionery, and when he feels like I'm ready, I'll go through the hard work of perfecting it. A little less flour here, a little more baking powder there, trying to get the ratios just right. But I finally made a recipe of my own. I hope someday I can share it with you and the rest of the family and make you as proud as you all make me, especially the ribbon winners among you. With love, Charles. P.S. Take heed. Your mother won't stay the number 2 baker in the family for long, and she'll make everyone in the family fat with fudge until she's reclaimed her crown. If they'd stop there, we might be hailing them as gastronomic pioneers. Heck, I might have eaten a ribeye salad for dinner tonight. But I think they wanted more than food. That is an ugly piece of meat. Ew, what is that? What is that supposed to be? That's gross. There's like tubes going into the rabbit. I don't know what that part's supposed to be. November 20th, 1942. Audio log 10:30:42. We may have hit a snag with the rabbit experiment. Are you recording a log on the rabbit experiment? It's just a lover's spat, Sergey. They'll be back together in no time. The rabbit's new leg bit it, Charles. Oh, it was a leg. I warned you this might happen if we didn't engineer both of the animals together that way. Yulna was a little confused, that's all. Let Jack settle down for a couple days and I'm sure he'll take Yulna back. After seeing how quickly Jack took to his new leg, I was more than happy to let this whole thing keep going. But is this necessarily the best thing for both of them? Yulna can move around on their own, and so can Jack. They're not wholly dependent on one another. Maybe we could just let them stay friends. Just friends? We should really be focusing on our real work. Oh, this is a lover's spat. Plus, this is starting to veer off both of our areas of expertise. Let's just call the experiment off for now. You want to call it off, Sergey? And he's calling him Sergey now. Well, maybe I should take your advice and engineer a new symbiote for Yulna then. A new partner might solve Yulna's problems. Well, we don't know what sort of effect that'll have on Jack, mentally speaking. Again, Charles, this is all very new to me. Everything we've been doing here has been new to me. Some new experimental organism, a new discovery, some unexpected results. And it is exciting, don't get me wrong, but it's nice to have someone reliable in all that chaos, who's also a little exciting himself. I'm just thinking about when he drunkenly said, "You can put your mouth anywhere." And I'm glad that person has been you. Maybe we can keep the Jack and Yulna experiment going. We can pick up the discussion in the morning if you prefer. Great Uncle Anthony. I tried recreating your famous dry rub mix. Some of the ingredients were hard to come by, rationing and all that, but I think we managed to get a close approximation. We threw a little backyard barbecue for the neighborhood to test our first production batch of meat, and it was a resounding success. This whole experience has given me a newfound appreciation for the time I spent on your farm when I was younger. Dr. Petrov nearly fainted during the butchering process, leaving me to do it all on my own. He reminds me of the time you put Carabella chicken on my dinner plate. Please write back when you have the chance. I'm dying to hear how the rest of the family is doing. Your city slicker grandnephew, Charles. Everything you read so far is what I've had to scrape and scrounge to get from government files. So you've already read all the juicy stuff. The rest is the boys in blue mopping up. Dicks. Just a bunch of dicks on a tree. And teeth. Dicks and teeth. Disgusting and weird. Is that bamboo? That's supposed to be bamboo. It's incident report narrative. What? Excuse. Oh my god, I'm sorry. No. Damn it. Huh? I didn't see that. I'm so good. Throw in the fire. Oh my god, why are you pushing me back so far? Blah blah blah. Yada yada yada. Uncle Anthony. My goodness, stop, please. Sergey, I love you. Ah. Now there's a piece of paper in the corner. The piece of paper is gone from the screen, but somewhere off in the corner. On the above date, P.O. Daniels responded to a call about an escaped animal. Upon finding the loose cow, P.O. Daniels saw its mouth was covered in blood. Upon closer inspection, the grass the cow was eating was some kind of malformed rat stuck in the ground. After calling for backup, officers discovered a sizable acreage of buried, deformed animals. Dr. Keating became agitated, and in response, officers were forced to put him into submission. Dr. Petrov was taken into custody for questioning. For health and safety reasons, it was decided to humanely dispatch the animals before bringing Dr. Petrov and Mr. Fielding into custody. Oh, my papers, where are they? My papers! Oh, there they are. Oh, I was about to freak the fuck out. Memo from the office of... As my JAG officer has previously claimed on behalf, Dr. Sergei Petrov was awarded a government contract from General... who died during... resulting in a transition period in which most of Petrov's work of an already secretive nature was done with little to no oversight until my office was made aware of it. Unfortunately, my upcoming absolvement may result in many more officers lower along the chain of command being found at fault. Officers you do not want to bring to court during these desperate times. Considering the improbability of systematic failure with the U.S. Armed Forces, I suggest we propose a possibility that foreign agents were involved under the specific circumstances Petrov was working as a contractor. A treason charge would take him outside of U.S. military jurisdiction and tried as a civilian. You're welcome. Where's my stuff? Mr. Keating and I are currently in Fayette County Jail. I believe the police have set fire to most of our work. I tried to save as much of our work as possible, but please send copies of all the records I've sent so far to your offices. And if you have any internal copies of your correspondences, please send those as well. We've made remarkable progress in the last few months. Oh, wait, what? Never mind. This is not who I thought it was. We've made remarkable progress in the last few months, and I believe we act quickly, we can still reach our first production deadline. Thank you, Dr. Sergei Petrov. Oh, I forgot who Keating was. It's me. I'm Charles Keating. Let me save. We live in a delicate world in a fragile time. This is not an era for radical new ideas. We just fought a long and hard war to re-establish the grand order of the world, for heaven's sake. And on American soil, a couple of dandy bookworms were playing God and feeding diseased meat to our children. I couldn't stand it. So I took a leaf from Dr. Petrov's playbook. I psychologically tore Mr. Keating apart and reformed and re-educated him as I saw fit. Into you. Oh my god. I'm him. And he's me. In the disassociated state you're in, Mr. Keating, it gives you a sense of clarity, doesn't it? You can see what I see. Why didn't your family ever write you back? Why did your lover try to rescue his work instead of you? Yeah, his eyes are moving. I don't like that. If you leave this prison tonight, where can you go? You know the answers. You know why you're here. You know why you need to sign this confession. Why you need to stay behind bars. You left home and traveled across the country hoping you'd change into the sort of person your family would miss. But instead of doing something to make them proud, you decided to pursue what made you happy, and you became a sick caricature of everything your parents hated about you in the first place. A mama's boy sticking his meat in the dirt, hoping it'd grow. Both figuratively, literally, in two different ways. Sign the confession. If you leave this prison now, you'll undo all the work I've done for you. You'll fall back into bad habits and become the same person you were 3 years ago. And none of us want that, would you? No, I don't want to change back, Warden. Oh god! I've made so much progress. Wait, his jaw fell off. Ugh. Wait, who's saying that? Oh, he's looking in fear. I've made so much progress. It was hard fabricating the equipment necessary to continue Dr. Petrov's work, but you wouldn't believe how fruitful my experiments have become. Oh! And quite frankly, I like the persons I've become. Oh! Oh, call security! Holy shit! Where's my gun? Blam, blam, blam! Where's my guns? Christina and Laura! Pew, 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 pew! It took me months to find you. You didn't answer when I called your name. Jesus Christ. From a distance, I almost couldn't recognize you, but I found you. I hope you're dreaming of me, drinking from the brook, eating the fruit from your branches, huddling from rain and sleet in your safe embrace. And someday, in a brief moment of lucidity, maybe you'll read this message and know I'm gone. You wanted us to change the world, and we did. Finally, we have meat fruit fall from a tree, and the tree is you. Symbolic. Starting with ourselves. I'll always remember you fondly. Love, Charles. Bruh. Wait, but how did... How did Dr. Petrov turn into tree? Like, when did that happen? God, you know... My sister showed me all these pictures of how the pictures they show of after the cat gets neutered. And it's like, here's this cute little cat toy holding up your nuts. Haha. And the cat's just like, oh. Because it's like right after the surgery or something. That's what that flower's leaves look like. It looks like cat nuts. That was romancing flesh. That was horrifying. And not in like a way that like I normally would be when I'm playing something and I'm anxious. In a way that I'm just like, oh, no. That's gross. But I don't really have much to say. I like how it went. It was a very, like, it wasn't too much. And it was actually a nice twist, for me at least, that we ended up being Mr. Keating. Because the way he was talking about it, I thought we were just like a prisoner. Just like, oh man, I gotta look through the, no wonder I'm gonna get a sentence cut. Because I gotta look through this gross shit and it's gonna be stuck with me. I'm gonna be traumatized forever. I'm not gonna want to eat meat forever. I wonder, though, I am curious, how the heck, like, Mr. Keating was able, like, Charles was able to do that to himself. Like, did he do it before they were taken into custody? Or was he able to do it during or something? Because it sounded like he was able to do it when he didn't have any supplies. And then, how did Dr. Petrov end up as Apple Tree? But then for Charles, his was like in pieces. Like, how did that happen? I guess, well, they did talk about grafting. But like, so but the way that would occur would require him to like be dead at some point, probably, because he was like in pieces. I mean, they talked about there being a brain in the plants, so I don't know. I'm trying to think of a semi-realistic way that the experiment could have gone. But I suppose, like, trying to explain it would it would completely ruin it, the whole thing. But it is interesting to think about like how it possibly could have happened and at what point did that occur. 'Cause geez. It started with, oh, we're gonna make a way to be able to grow meat without slaughtering animals. This could help feed the vast majority. And then it went into, no, we can go beyond, we can go further, we will become the apple tree. I hope y'all enjoyed this, and I hope to see you in anything else. Catch you later.